And
hey everybody, it's Tami from Nutmeg Notebook. I am the creator of the blog and this YouTube channel called Nutmeg Notebook. And this is where we share with you all about our whole food, plant-based lifestyle. So we're very excited this morning to have a special guest in the house. Oh, what are you doing, Tom?
our video started.
He started the video. So this is a very special Q&A. It's a follow-up to our boot camp that we did yesterday, all about batch cooking with Chef AJ. And there were so many questions, even after we gave 4 hours of instruction, that we decided that we would just do a free YouTube live today to try to answer all those pressing questions that you still had yesterday. So in the chat feed, if you want to ask a question, please put 4 question marks, ask your question, and then end with 4 question marks. That will just help my husband, Tom, who will be moderating the comments.
Are you introducing me?
I'm introducing you, darling.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, if you have questions, please do the question marks. And we have our moderators, Tiffany, Randy, and Jesse. You'll see a little wrench next to their name. They're highlighted in blue. The wrench does not mean that they're going to do any damage to anyone.
They're not going to throw a wrench in the works?
No, they're here to prevent the works from being wrenched up. So, okay. And they will often answer your questions right in the chat stream. And that's awesome when they do that. Or if I've missed something, they will sometimes hit me over the head with the wrench, say, Tom, you missed a question, please get it to Tami. So I appreciate that as well.
So we did have a lot of questions come in advance in our email. I think the Chef AJ got some as well. And so I will read off the questions that I got.
Did we recap?
Did we crap?
No, did we recap? Did we recap what this morning's impromptu live is
about? Were you not listening to
No,
me?
I was over here doing technology.
Of course I did. Of course I did.
Why are we here? Okay, why am I here today? I'm going to push the next button, okay?
Okay, so I want to welcome Chef AJ this morning.
Hello, Chef AJ. You're on screen.
Hey, hi guys. We're so tired from yesterday. That was quite an extravaganza, 4 hours of batch cooking.
It was so much fun. And then we talked to Charles and AJ afterwards for at least an hour, and that was so much fun. So we're all very tired, but we're also excited to be here and to be able to answer your questions. And so I will read the questions that I have. I may have missed some because there was so much activity in our email yesterday. So if I miss your question, please feel free to ask it again in the chat feed. So this first one, I didn't get a chance to print it. So I wanted to read it here. This is from Stephanie Spear, and she watched the Batch Prep Boot Camp yesterday, and she loved how organized we are, AJ, and how much we could share within our 2 hours that was allotted to each of us. She has a question about mushrooms, and I'm thinking you might be able to help with this, AJ. She loves to throw mushrooms over her already cooked potatoes, rice, veggies, or in her salads. Since it's preferred to have mushrooms cooked before eating them, she was wondering if it would be successful to water saute a batch and then divide into the 2 tablespoon super cubes and freeze them. And she wants to know, do you have any experience cooking mushrooms ahead of time? And if so, how have you stored them? How do you reheat them? And what do you use them in? Thank you so much for your wonderful advice. And again, your positive attitude. So thank you so much, Stephanie.
Well, what a nice email. Thank you, Stephanie. And I can't believe that close to 700 people registered for batch cooking. I did not realize it was such a popular topic, and that, you know, a lot of guys were registering and single people. So it's nice to know that this is something that interests people, and that we both it's something that we just kind of do naturally now after so many years. So this is going to be a spoiler alert, because I don't want people to not sign up for the Truth About Weight Loss Summit that starts in a week. But Chef Darshana Thakur, the extraordinary chef who forks over knives, basically addresses that. And yes, you can absolutely batch cook ingredients. So, you know, think about it. When you buy frozen vegetables, like for example, those fire roasted peppers and onions that I showed yesterday that I love from Trader Joe's, those have already been cooked. They're fantastic defrosted and then cooked again in your dish. So there's no reason you can't do that with sauteed mushrooms, water sauteed, or onion and mushroom, or just onion. And it's just going to save you so much time when you need to pull it out. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I know you like to sometimes add the local spicery pepperoni spice to those mushrooms.
That spice makes mushrooms taste amazing, because I personally don't like mushrooms and I'm not a picky eater, but there's a couple of things like mushrooms and buckwheat that I don't love, celery, but that spice makes me a mushroom lover.
Yeah, it's so good, especially like put it on potatoes with a little bit of tomato sauce, and it's really good. So, you know, we buy the big container. I do love mushrooms. We buy the big containers of them at Costco, the baby portobellas. And so I like to take and chop those up and saute them in a skillet with some onion, just mushrooms and onion and garlic. They just go together so well. So I'll do that a lot and batch prep that with vegetables. And again, I think I show that also in the Truth About Weight Loss Summit. So anyway.
I agree. That is exactly how I like mushrooms, when they're sauteed with onion and garlic. That's a great starter for any kind of dish.
It is. And then you can add all kinds of other vegetables to it if you want to, or you can, you know, if our mushrooms look like they're going to go bad and I don't have a soup or something that I want to make them in, then I go ahead and I'll chop them all up and saute them. I've never just frozen them at that point. I usually end up, you know, doing something to cook them, but you certainly could do that. And so this is the super cubes that she's talking about. And we have these on our Amazon store. We also have an affiliate link if you want to buy them directly from the company, and they're silicone molds, and they are designed so that you can freeze the exact amount. So these are 1 ounce little cubes, and it's marked in here. They tell you the fill line to go to. So, because you know, everything expands once it's frozen, and they all come with lids. They can also go in the oven. They just cannot go in the microwave. But these are what she's talking about with the super cubes. If anybody's watching that wasn't on the show yesterday.
And you know what, Tami, like for somebody like me that doesn't like mushrooms, or for anyone that doesn't like a certain vegetable, air frying can change it. So for example, I've known people that do not like okra because of the sliminess, but when you air fry okra, it's amazing. And mushrooms too, when they're air fried, almost like little crouton toppings for your soup or salad.
Oh yeah, the air fryer is amazing. I don't know what we did before we had.
I know. I just, you know, when I think about it, it's like, how did we live before the Instant Pot and the Breville? I don't know how people do it. It's like every day I use both of them.
Yeah, well, we do too. I can hardly cook without it right now because I'm just so used to it. And so then, like of course, we haven't been traveling for the past year, but when I think about, you know, going on vacation or something, it's like, what will I do without my, you know, my Breville and my pressure cooker? Okay, so another person has a question that's about the super cubes, and this wasn't from the summit, but it came in, and so it fits right in here. So for people who just ordered these, she says, where do you purchase your freezer bags for the 1/2 cup super cubes? The bags I have do not let me get that 4th one in the bag so that I can get 4 across. And I think on your videos, you were able to get all 8 in one bag. And so do I have the 1/2 cup? I do have the 1/2 cup. So here's the 1/2 cup one that she's talking about. And so this is just like, it gives you perfect little portions, which is fantastic. And I just use these are just your regular Ziploc gallon bags. But what I have discovered is that if I overfill these, then it makes them just too big to all fit in one bag. So you want to make sure, because, you know, these are stretchy. They're kind of like, you know, your stretch pants. You can actually squeeze more in here. And so you want to be careful to not overfill them. If I overfill them and they're just a little bit thicker, then they won't all fit in one bag. But I just use the regular Ziploc bags. And you guys, you can wash these and reuse them. It even says that on the package, that they come in, that the Ziploc bags can be washed and reused, and they are BPA free. Okay, so that's a couple questions down. Says this is from Mindy. She says, great presentation today. Thank you so much. The Breville oven says it also does air frying. Does it do as good of a job as a standalone air fryer, or is it best to buy both? Thank you, Mindy. Well, Mindy, I've never had just the bucket type of standalone air fryer, because when we decided to buy an air fryer, we were deciding between the Philips and between the Breville, and we actually bought both and brought them home and looked at them, and we decided to keep the Breville because the capacity of it is so much greater. I know that people who have the freestanding one and then get the Breville say that the smaller freestanding one cooks a little bit faster because it's a smaller cooking unit and the food is closer to the heating element. So in the Breville, it might take a few minutes longer to make something in it, but it does a fantastic job of everything that we want to air fry. And so, I mean, I don't think you need it and a standalone. So what about you, AJ? Because I know you have a standalone air fryer.
Yeah, so my first introduction to air frying, I got a gift from some friends, and it was from QVC. Not that there's anything wrong with QVC, but it was one of those standalones, and it broke pretty quickly after the warranty period, and I couldn't get it replaced. And it works great. The problem is if you're cooking for more than one person, like you say, the capacity is not great. But if you're a single person and you're not a volume eater like me or Tami, you might do fine with that. They work great. And I still have one, a GoWise. It's very good and it hasn't broken. So like you said, it's correct. It cooks faster. So if I'm doing a small job just for me, so for example, if I'm making my balsamic Dijon glazed Brussels sprouts with the 1 pound bag of frozen baby Brussels sprouts from Trader Joe's, I don't fire up the Breville. You know, it fits perfectly in there. But if I'm cooking for myself and Charles or more people, like you say, there's not a lot of capacity. But for small jobs, for example, like when I roast garlic, which I do all the time for my recipes, you've taken a half a cup of garlic cloves. I mean, that's crazy to do it in the Breville. It's just, you don't need to. So I will use it for small jobs. And I'm not telling people they have to get both. But if they're uncertain that they're going to love, I have not met somebody that got the Breville and didn't love it. I just haven't yet. And maybe that person exists, but I haven't met them. So Dr. Doug Lisle always says, never make a big decision when a small decision will do. So the Breville is a big decision because it's $399. You can use your Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. I know people say they can't, but that's not true because I have bought 2 of them now for gifts for people. Now, maybe online you can't, but I've never had the store not take the coupon for it. And sometimes they even go on more special and still take the coupon. So getting a smaller one, which I've seen at Walmart for $39 and Costco for $69, for somebody that's uncertain that they're going to like it, that might be a good decision. Or getting like the Instant Pot and the Melty, both make Instant Pots or pressure cookers now with crisp lids. But again, if you're eating the way we eat, you can't get more than 1 potato in, and how are you going to eat only 1 potato for lunch? So I love the Breville in terms of its capacity, but also because of its versatility. And again, Tami and I get nothing from Breville. Breville doesn't even answer the phone or the email. I've been trying to talk to them for years just to tell them how much I love their product and to see it, because I'm sure I've sold a lot of them for them. But the thing is I do really love it. And the thing that's nice about it is if you live in a hot place, like I live in the desert, where in the summer it can be up to 122 degrees. When I use my regular oven, it heats up. First of all, it takes a long time to preheat, but it heats up the entire house. But for some reason, the Breville doesn't do that. And so I use my Breville as my regular oven to roast my potatoes, to bake my jam bars. It's also a dehydrator. So I think it's amazing. And again, get nothing for saying this. It's just that we love our Breville.
Yeah, absolutely. We do too. And we use ours every day as well. And although we're not in the desert, it does get hot here in Northern California. And so in the summertime, when it's 100 degrees, I don't want to turn on my big oven. And we can bake a lot of things in the Breville. So if you get the BOV 900 model, which is the model we have, because they have 2 models now, one's a little bit smaller and doesn't have all the functions that the one that we have does. But this one holds a 9x13 casserole dish as well as a 12-cup muffin pan. And so in the summertime, I use it exclusively because it doesn't heat up my kitchen. It preheats quickly and doesn't heat up the kitchen. Yes.
There was a question, since you guys are on this subject, because I told folks I was going to scan for questions after you're done with the printed ones, but you're on this subject, and it had to do with what air fryer you would recommend when a person does not have counter space. Well, this one literally does not take up counter space. And if it's on the pressure cooker, we actually store it upside down inside our 8-quart pressure cooker. So Tami gets, when I'm tying up.
So this is the Milky Crisp Lid. Let's
Yes.
tell them what it is. It's the Milky Crisp Lid.
Yeah.
And it fits on any 6 or 8-quart pressure cooker that has a stainless steel liner. You cannot use it on one that has a Teflon coated liner. It has to be the stainless steel. But this fits on any brand. This is made by the Milky Company. And for full disclosure, we are affiliates of Milky. So we do have an affiliate link in the show notes for them. But this turns your 6 or 8-quart pressure cooker into a little air fryer. And it works great. And in fact, it works a little bit faster than the Breville because it's smaller.
Well, what's most magical about it is when I'm tying up the Breville with making oil-free corn chips, you can still do your air-fried potatoes.
Yes.
And we can actually wind up having a nice dinner together instead of taking turns with the air fryer.
Yep, that's
But
true.
that's a plus feature that.
It is. And
So-
this also works as a dehydrator, and the dehydrator function on it works really well. But just what AJ was saying, though, it's a lot smaller capacity because the basket that fits underneath this is a lot smaller. Now I can do a meal for me. I can do an ear of corn, a potato, and a veggie burger in here to heat it up. And if you can't afford or don't have space for an air fryer, if you have an oven that you can use your broiler in, I've had very good success when I've gone to visit my parents and they don't have an air fryer. I'm able to make good French fries and my Japanese sweet potato croutons in the oven just using the broil function. So is it the same as the air fryer? No, but it's pretty good. And then you can buy some, AJ, those racks that we bought from QVC years ago, those mesh.
Yeah,
racks.
the Crispies trays, they're called.
Crispies trays, thank you. I knew you would know. You can get pretty good French fries from those in the oven because it's a mesh rack, so all the air can get in from all directions, and so it helps to make crispy things. So you can do hash browns, you can do your French fries in a regular oven using that. And they've probably come out with some new products by now that people can buy, but there are also there's a cookie sheet that has a rack that stands up on top of it that you can use that's supposed to help the air circulate. Or if you have a convection oven setting on the oven that you already have, that will also help things to crisp up a bit. So don't feel like you can't still have delicious, yummy food if you don't have an air fryer, because of course you can. And I can even, when I'm at my parents' house, I'll take a Japanese sweet potato that has previously been roasted and chilled, cut it in half, score it, and then I'll put it on a pan and put it underneath the broiler. And it does come out similar to how the air fryer does. The skin gets a little bit crispy, except, you have to turn it over and broil all sides of it because it doesn't have the hot air circulating like the air fryers do. But you can, still get a good result and get something that's a little bit crispy.
One of the things also that I love about the Breville, Tami, is because I'm really busy and I'm running around and doing shows. And with the Breville, like let's say yesterday on the workshop where I was showing how I roast my potatoes, with the Breville, it shuts off when the time is done. Whereas in the oven, even if I have a timer set, I sometimes don't hear it and I can burn things. But I love that when you put the time, you put the temperature, and then it shuts off. It's great. Just like the Instant.
Yeah, which we need because we're multitasking. We're doing so many things at the same time Because when I'm batch cooking, I'm not just batch cooking. I'm also doing laundry and, answering emails and doing multiple things at the time. Okay, so Kit wants to know, please go over your method of washing and drying vegetables. It takes me so much time. So do you want to share how you do it, AJ? And
It's
then I'll
not
share
going to
how I
make me
do it.
very popular, but I buy a lot of stuff already bagged and washed. I'm sorry.
Well, I do that too, for my salads. In order to make my salads quick, I buy the greens that are already triple washed so that I don't have to. Now, what I do when I get home from the grocery store with my tomatoes and my herbs and my romaine lettuce is I go ahead and wash everything. I, scrub my kitchen sink, and then I use my kitchen sink. You can put a tub in there if you prefer to put some kind of a tub in there, or you can buy these dish pans that you can put in there. And I just use water, and I have my vegetable brush. Oh, maybe Tom, you can grab my vegetable brush, can you? It should be over in the drawer. I just use water and my vegetable brush. So I don't wash everything. A lot of things I don't wash until I'm ready to use them. So like carrots and the potatoes and stuff like that, I don't wash those until right before I'm going to cook them. But I go ahead and rinse my little tomatoes for my salad. And I go ahead and I rinse my herbs, my fresh herbs that I buy. And then I had a salad spinner, and honestly, I did not think it was that great of a tool, and I ended up giving it away. So I just put out my kitchen towels, my cotton kitchen towels, and I lay everything out on my cotton kitchen towels after I've washed it, and just let everything get dry. If it's not completely dry, then I just take my towel and I just put like the herbs or the lettuce or whatever in it, and I just roll up the kitchen towel and I apply a little bit of pressure. I saw Dr. Furman do that in a video when he was showing how he preps his salads, and he did that with like his romaine lettuce, and that works really well. The thicker, the fluffier the towel is, then the more absorption it has. And he actually used a bath towel, not a kitchen towel, in his demonstration. So I do that. And then the tomatoes, after they're dry, I put them in a bowl. And then I showed yesterday how I take my herbs and I put them in a container that's lined with a paper towel and then put the lid on it. And they sell a vegetable wash if you're worried that things are, if you think things are too dirty, or if you buy anything that has like that wax coating on it. Trader Joe's and Whole Foods both sell a vegetable wash, it's called, and you spray it on. One of them is a spray and one squirts, and you can put that on. Other people use a little bit, they run their water in a container, either a big bowl or like a little, not a bucket, but like a wash pan, I want to call it. And they'll add a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of baking soda. I don't know how much because I don't do it that way, but if you Google it, you could find that. So that's what I do. That's what works for me, is just laying it out and letting it dry.
And ever since I interviewed Dr. Ron Weiss, who's a regenerative farmer as well as a doctor at the Ethos Farm, I don't worry about washing them so good because, he says a little bit of dirt, especially if you buy it at farmer's market, it's good for you.
Not bad for you. There you go. Okay. So Patricia says, thank you for your excellent Zoom presentation today. Can you tell me the name of the specific spice blend that you recommend and the size of the Holland bowl? So I think the only one that I really talked about specifically yesterday was the local spicery. This is the Saigon Cassia cinnamon. And I don't know, Tom, can they see that well, or?
If I put you on full screen, maybe.
Let's see if you can.
Now hold it up. Yeah.
So this is
we can see spicery.
Okay, so this is from Local Spicery, and this is a local spice company that's close to me here in Northern California, and they mill all of their own spices, and they only keep them for like 3 months. So when you buy their spices that these are probably the freshest spices on the market that you can get unless you're milling your own. And this cinnamon tastes like it has sugar in it. It is so sweet. In fact, Nick from Local Spicery told me that he's even had people come back to him and say, that cinnamon has sugar in it. And he's like, no, it does not have sugar in it. It is just the perfect cinnamon for your baking recipes because it has such a sweetness to it. It's the best tasting cinnamon I've ever had. So, and AJ and I don't have an affiliate with Local Spicery. We both just love their spices.
We do have something, both of us, for
you can,
for if you put a local when you do your order, if you put in remarks either Chef AJ or Nutmeg Notebook, you'll get 2 little spice samples.
That's right.
That are kind of correlate with whatever you're ordering. They pick them out. You don't get to pick them out.
well, you can request, but they might be out of it because sometimes they run out of certain spices because they have to wait until they get the raw product in so that they can mill it.
Nick and Evelyn been working with Chef AJ and also with us on developing spice blends and stuff. So we just really like to support their work because they do a great job.
Okay.
Have you ever had the Tasca del Sol? That's my favorite after pepperoni.
What is?
Casa del Sol.
The Tasca del Sol.
I don't think I've tried that one. I'll have to look and see if I've bought it because I have some new spices that I haven't tried yet. So Tom really likes the Hestia, and sometimes I take the Hestia and I put it in my chopped salads because it tastes so good. But their ground cumin is like the best tasting ground cumin I've ever had. Their chipotle chili powder is amazing. The onion powder and garlic powder, it has so much flavor. It's not like the ones that you buy at Costco that come in the great big jars. It just has so much more flavor. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about them. They're just so amazing. She also wanted to know what size Holland bowl we use, and we use the 15-inch. This will store on a shelf in my pantry. It will hold up to a pound of greens at one time that I can chop. And so I like the 15-inch. The 12-inch is too small. And I know that Chef AJ, you like the 17-inch.
Yeah, I like the bigger the better.
Okay, so that's that. Okay. Oh, this one's for you, Tom.
Okay, what is it?
This is from Stephanie. You mentioned yesterday that you use the funnel to when you're filling the containers for the 25 pounds of oats, and she'd like to know what containers are you using for those. So we use a lot of oats here. Tom has rolled oats for his breakfast every day. My muffins.
Oh,
apple
it's dark in
crisp.
here without the light. I have to get behind the door to get the container.
Okay. Muffins, apple crisp. I mean, I use oats in so many things. Of course, I love the oat groats too. So we found at our local Winco, which is WINCO, and they have, a big bulk section, and they also sell some things in big 25-pound bags. And so we are able to get organic rolled oats there in a 25-pound bag
for a little over $1 a pound.
Yeah, it's the most economical way that we have found. And so you want to talk about your containers.
Okay. Yeah, so these we found at Target, just
Walmart, actually.
Walmart,
Mhm.
So they're a what do you want to call it? Non-toxic, BPA-free plastic storage container. Got like a half a dozen of them. I also have some leftover containers, same plastic from our mushrooms that we buy at Costco. So when I get the bag home, I will take that big funnel and load all these up, and I'll put 2 or 3 of them in the pantry. This is the one we actually dispense from, which is an old version of a snap lock thing, and actually that guy just sits in there.
And we just keep the half cup.
So that half,
cup in there.
that half cup stays in there because you can scoop down into this. When this gets empty, then I take this entire content, pour it in there,
and wash
it out, and then it goes back into the storage cabinet until I buy another 25-pound bag and load them up. So I'll keep 3 or 4 of these stacked up on the very top shelf up high. So when this gets low, I just refill. But I don't know. I just feel really good about getting oats for $1 a pound. I don't know why that is so exciting.
I don't know, but it makes you feel good. I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's just simple things in life. Cheapo, I tell you.
Cheapos, that makes you happy. Okay, so she also has another question. She says, this is also from Stephanie. She says, I have had trouble having my Japanese sweet potatoes come out consistently creamy and soft. I cook them in my Breville Smart Oven at 400 degrees for an hour and 20 minutes, and sometimes they come out perfectly caramelized, but half the time they come out dry. This can happen in the same batch of potatoes that are the same size. Could the age of the different potatoes be a factor, or maybe the size, maybe the placement of the tray in the oven? Would it ruin them to cook them longer? Please let me know if you have any suggestions. Well, every once in a while, I'll have some that do come out dry, and like the rest of them on the tray will be perfectly caramelized and creamy. So I think it just does have to do with the age of the potato. What do you think, AJ?
Yeah, I use this machine called the Nutmeg to make Charles homemade nut butters. And sometimes they come out perfectly creamy and sometimes they come out dry. So I interviewed the CEO of the machine. I said, is there something wrong with the machine? And she said, no, because certain products don't have the same kind of shelf lives. So we don't know how old things are when we go to a store. We don't know, right? I mean,
right.
Maybe produce, but things like those bags of potatoes don't really have expiration dates on them. The bags of nuts really don't. And so I know what you mean, because if the whole batch is bad, like when I've ordered from Hawaii Veggie Farms, I've had a whole batch that was bad. That just happens sometimes, and it's really unfortunate. And you don't know by looking at it which one's going to be dry and which one's going to be creamy. So I really think it's just the potato, and you get a clunker. It doesn't seem to happen with regular potatoes, but it does seem to happen with the Japanese. The Hanas, it doesn't seem to happen to, but you're right. The Murasaki and the Japanese, and sometimes even the Stokes, sometimes they're just a clunker.
You know what? You're right. I hadn't thought about that. But the Hanas, that never happens to the Hana yams.
Hanas are always creamy. Hanas are the best, but it does, even sometimes the purple ones or the Hawaiian ones too. You get so disappointed because they're just dry. And so, if that happens, then smash them and air fry them, make them croutons.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because sometimes if they are dry, even when I cut them in half and score them and air fry them, they're still kind of dry and chalky. And the first time that I tried the Stokes, I got a batch that was really dry. And I thought, what is the deal? Why do people love these? Because I did not like them. And so I did not buy them again for a long time. And then Tom had gone to Whole Foods to shop for us, and he accidentally bought the Stokes because he thought they were Japanese sweet potatoes because they look so similar. And those were really good. I tried them and I was like, hey, that was a good mistake because they're delicious. So it's just luck of the draw on that. Okay. That one I already answered. And then, is there any more questions in the chat, Tom?
Yeah, I got a bunch, but I'm
okay. Let's do
right
it
now. Okay.
That's not what you're doing right now.
Okay, I can jump.
So here's something from, you look for it and I'll do this. So Karen sent this. She really enjoyed yesterday's webinar, the boot camp. She says, I find that people who are great at coming up with recipes are usually also good at looking in the fridge and putting together an attractive meal from a combination of what is in there. And they often say, you don't need recipes, you just need ingredients. Who said that? Who has said that?
I said that, and that's why I'm doing these Iron Chefs. The thing is if you don't practice, you'll never get good at it. And until you start being willing to take, the risk and just coming up with things every recipe has been developed that way. If you saw the Iron Chef I did with the Crocs versus Geruti, they both came up with incredible, delicious recipes in less than 30 minutes using 3 common ingredients. If you don't ever try, you'll never be able to do it. You don't have to go to culinary school. You just have to be willing to take some risks. If you're using whole natural foods and not overdoing the spices like salt, if you use it, chances are it's going to be pretty good, but you got to be willing to try.
Yeah, and every once in a while, I have one that's a bummer. Every once in a while, I put something together, and I'm like, ugh, I wouldn't repeat that again. So anyway, she says that I'm not sure I totally agree that this is true for all of us. I might be the only person, but I think I lack cooking imagination, or maybe I lack cooking intuition. Once I follow a recipe, I can usually modify it to suit myself and make it with frequency if I like it, but I need a recipe as a starting point. I've heard you mention before one of your recipes, say for the nacho cheese sauce, and then rattle off a bunch of ways you have used it. I think, oh, that's great. I wish I had that list of ideas. If there was ever a time you could put some of those lists on your website, I think I would find it really helpful in combining batch cooked recipes and ingredients. Thanks for all you do, Karen. So I do try to give people lots of different ideas. And so in future blog posts, I think that's a good idea. I'll try to do that. I was thinking on the nacho cheese sauce that maybe we showed pictures of different ways. I think on that, if you go to that video, the Chipotle nacho cheese sauce, at the end of the video, we actually show you pictures.
Half a dozen different,
ways
half
to
a
use
dozen
it.
different ways. We're in camera,
Okay, great.
camera, whichever number that is, camera 2 now. So we got quite a number of questions in the scroll. So
Okay, let's do it.
All right, and so I'm going to work from the bottom up here a little bit. Is there another name from BJ? Is there another name for Hannah yams so that you can find them on the East Coast? Does the name change?
Jersey, they're called Jersey yams or white sweet potatoes in some places.
Okay, thank you. Jersey yams. All right.
And you guys, talk to the produce manager at the store that you shop at and ask them if they can order them in for you. You would be amazed what they can do. So, and they can also help you if it does have a different name. And sometimes they can tell you where you can get something, even if it's at a different store. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. So,
like ethnic markets always, I don't want to say always where you live, but I've never not been able to find them year round at ethnic markets.
Yeah, and if you live somewhere that doesn't have a specific ethnic market, one thing that you can do is, if there's an area in your community that has like more of an Asian population, those stores in that area cater to those demographic groups. And so go and see what they have, because just because your Hy-Vee or your Rayleigh's doesn't carry something, it doesn't mean that it's the same at all the stores, because they bring stuff in based on the demographic of the area that they're serving. Also, health food stores. If you have any health food stores in your area, if you go to those, they usually have Japanese sweet potatoes and Hannah yams.
Next question is from Gina Touchstone, and I've got a couple of pennies worth to put on this. The question is, when pre-cutting vegetables and fruit for later use, will you lose vitamins and minerals the longer it sits before eating? So in general, yeah, you might lose some nutritional value after something has been partially prepped. However, the fact that Tami has pre-prepped stuff or pre-prepped our salads will increase my consumption of that salad by like 90%. So if I'm losing 2% of nutrition, but eating 90% more, I'm 88% ahead of where I would be. Did that make sense?
That makes sense.
So yes, but it's such a small amount compared to the enhancement of what you will get in your body, healthful foods into your body by having them prepped.
I heard Dr. Greger one time addressing that. Somebody was saying about, well, if you cook broccoli this way, you lose less nutrients than if you cook it this way. And he said, so just eat another bite of broccoli.
And make up the difference.
Eat more.
So yeah, and that's kind of the same thing I was saying.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's kind of what we think. If the food wasn't batch prepped and ready to go, we wouldn't be eating as healthy as we eat. And considering the volume of healthy food that we eat over the course of a week, if we do lose a little bit of nutrients, it's probably not enough to worry about. But it's a very good question.
Okay, Tami's drinking Beet Boost. Somebody was asking about that.
Yeah, this is.
And I'm drinking green juice.
All right.
You got green juice?
Okay, Sherry Yee says, can you please repeat Chef AJ, can you please repeat the cinnamon? It's the Saigon Cassia cinnamon is the name of it.
And I've got it right here.
All right.
So this is cinnamon. It's Saigon, Saigon. Cassia, Cassia. And it's from Local Spicery. So if you go to localspicery.com, and they were out of it for a while, and they just recently got it back in stock because they had to get the raw ingredients so that they could mill it. So this is what I'm drinking. This is called Beet Boost. Oh wait, I'm on this camera. This is called Beet Boost. And so I like to drink it because it really helps with my inflammation from my sciatic nerve problem. But it's also great to have some of it before you're going to do some aggressive exercise, or because it helps you with your oxygen levels. And then it's also a great thing for recovery after you've exercised as well. So I have it almost every day.
Question for you, Chef AJ, from Peg Hoover. She says, and this is back on the spice blend conversations, and it's following a thread here where we were talking about the Saigon cinnamon, and then there was mention from Diane about Chef AJ's UWL spice blend from Local Spicery. Then Peg's asking, what do you use that on? Also the black cumin. So what do you use the black cumin on? And,
that's me.
And what do you use the your UWL spice blend on?
I don't know what the UWL spice blend is.
Well, it says AWL spice blend, all spice blend. Maybe it's a type.
And I've never bought the black cumin. So I use regular cumin just in my black bean mushroom chili.
Well, Tami does the black cumin, so she can tackle that. So so Peg, if you can restate that question, I'll have to catch it later because I'm not sure I'm understanding which spice you're asking about.
Okay, so I mentioned that I had freshly ground black cumin seed on my salad yesterday. And I learned about this from Dr. Greger's How Not to Diet cookbook. He says if you have a 1/4 teaspoon of this a day, in the scientific studies, it helped people lose weight. It's also good for, was it for cholesterol too? It's all around a really healthy, good little thing to have. So it's called Nigella sativa black. They call it black cumin. It does not taste like it does not taste like cumin at all. It tastes like a lot like black pepper, but it's really delicious. And you do need to grind it before you eat it. If you don't, for some people, it causes stomach aches. And so we bought this grinder, and these are both on our Amazon page. And I love the flavor of it. So I put it on my salads, my vegetables, my potatoes. I use it instead of black pepper. And then also I wanted to say on the Beet Boost, do you have the link below in the show notes for our Beet Boost? Because we also have a discount code. So if you look in the show notes, either click on the little down arrow or the see more, then you'll find our affiliate link to Beet Boost. And you guys, Chef AJ and us, we only promote the products that we actually do use and like. And we promote them whether we have an affiliate association with them or not, just because we like to share with you the wonderful products that we find. Now, yesterday I saw in the chat, after I gave my presentation, there was a lot of questions about what vinegar I was using. And this is from California Balsamic. And AJ actually discovered them. They're a wonderful little company from Ukiah, California. And Thomas and his wife run it. And this is the Simply Lemon, and you can't go wrong. We love all the flavors. I haven't tried a flavor from them that I don't like. So please support them and order from them. They are amazing.
Chef AJ, we got a question from Marcus for you. It says, hi, Chef AJ. I bought the Tupperware mandolin, and when I try to cube onions with it, the vertical knife moves. Do you have the same problem?
Okay, because I have 2 mandolins from Tupperware. Is it the bigger one or is it the mini one? So he's saying
probably if he's trying to cube onions, it's probably the big one.
But how do you cube an onion? Because a mandolin only does slices.
Yeah.
If you want cubes, you would use it's called the Vidalia Chop Wizard if you want little cubes. My understanding.
Right. Well, that's part of the answer. Tammy uses the Vidalia Chop Wizard when she's dicing onions as well for your for the salsa.
Yeah.
So that's a Vidalia Chop Wizard thing rather than the mandolin. So Okay.
Maybe they can clarify.
Yeah, Amber Saul's asking, can you list the veggies you can air fry? Amber, Google Nutmeg Notebook Veggie Air Fry. That's one of our very earliest videos, but it's also one of our most viewed videos. It's had like 180,000 or 190,000 views. It's called Veggie Air Fry in the Breville Smart Oven Air. And Tami puts quite a number. She kind of went all out and air fried a whole bunch of them at once. So that might give you some ideas.
Yeah. I mean, I've done everything, you know, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, mushrooms, onions, squash, corn on the cob,
Yeah.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just like, you know, just experiment with it. Almost everything.
Okay,
Green beans. I mean, I don't know.
Okay,
just everything.
I'm getting back up into some air fryer questions. Margaret Gorman, on the model of Breville, as a reference point, if you go to the Nutmeg Notebook and click on the shop tab, I have the exact model of our oven in there. You'll see a picture of it, and that will give you all of the technical information you need. We do list it on Amazon, but they're out right now when there's a real crazy price on it that you don't want to do. So just go straight to the
BOV 900.
Yeah, go straight to the Nutmeg Notebook shop page, and you'll see a picture of the model that we have. You can get the information. Air fryer question from Mary. I have the Emerald 360 air fryer, and she loves it. It's capped at 400 degrees, however. I see many recipes that call for more heat than that. How hot does the Breville get? It goes, you don't go over 450 usually. It probably goes to 500.
Yeah, I don't go over 425.
Is the hottest you use.
Is the hottest, and usually I usually do everything at 400.
Do you ever do
degrees.
anything hotter, Chef AJ? On
I really don't ever go over 400.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Time and temperature to air fry half Brussels sprouts with balsamic. Is this Chef AJ, the balsamic Brussels sprouts in the air fryer?
With the mustard.
Whose is that? Is that you or Chef AJ?
That's AJ.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've got I usually do 20 minutes in the air fryer.
At what temperature?
400, that's my default.
20
I do
minutes at
everything at
400 in the air
400
fryer
for
for
20
those
minutes
Brussels
because then I don't
sprouts.
have to remember all the different settings. The only thing I do lower is garlic because garlic tends to burn when I'm roasting garlic. And a lot of times I'll put the marinade on afterwards now because then I don't have to clean up the air fryer. This was a trick developed by Zena, who's in our group, when we had Dr. McDougall over for dinner, and she put the marinade on afterwards and it was fantastic.
And then you don't have that big mess.
For those of you that are asking about my corn chip process, I put a link in the chat in there referring to chips and salsa video. If you go into YouTube and search Nutmeg Notebook chips and salsa, how to make the chips is in that video. Real easy to find. That's actually how I found it to get the link. I Googled Nutmeg Notebook chips and salsa and clicked on share and brought it back over to the chat feed. So remember that tool. That is an awesome tool. Okay, Sherry Yee saying, love the boot camp. I think Justin was taking care of this. Give the recipes for Chef AJ's favorites. One, smoky sweet potato burger and barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that's a Chibo class, guys. So I can put the link in the chat, but I can't give out the Chibo recipes, unfortunately, on YouTube because this was done with another organization. But I just put the link in. If you'd like to click on it, you can get all the previous Chibo classes, including the one that I'm teaching today at 2:00 on Valentine's Day desserts.
Okay, and then there was a discussion between KB and Jesse. I also put a link in for the salad batch prep video. We do not cut our wet ingredients prior to put into the storage containers in the fridge. Tami leaves the romaine heads only cut in half. The cherry tomatoes stay whole. We do not add cucumbers. We do not add citrus
or peppers.
And or
we have though peppers. In the past we used to add chopped apple and little mandarins, but now we like to make a Mexican chopped salad, so we don't add any of that.
This skews the flavor.
If we, like I showed yesterday, with the mixture that we make the basic salads out of, if it looks like we're gonna have, if for some reason we didn't get them all eaten at the end of the week, I can take the romaine out and I can water saute all the vegetables that are in there. And so we don't add fruit to it anymore, and we don't add chopped red pepper or anything like that that can go bad.
Chef AJ, a question from Stephanie. I'm quite a ways up in the chat feed, folks. So hopefully you're still here. When you roast potatoes and store in fridge, how long do they last? 5 days, 1 week, longer?
Well, in my house, probably never more than 5 days because there's never enough. I would give it a week, probably. And you can freeze them too.
Yeah. Ours sometimes, if I am not good about eating like the Stokes, they, halfway through the second week, they start getting a little wet. And Tami will prompt me to either eat them or freeze them. So you can see when they're starting to get a little tired.
Yeah, a week is they're usually fine for a week. And then at the end of the week, if we haven't eaten them, then I will go ahead and peel the skin off and put them in a freezer container and freeze them. And then I'll use them in a recipe. And here's the thing, when you first start batch cooking, you're gonna make some mistakes. You're either not gonna make enough to get you through the week, or you're going to make too much. And that's what happened when I first started batch cooking. But eventually you'll figure it out. Eventually you'll know, I need this many potatoes. I need, this many salads. Eventually you will figure it out. And then there's going to be some variances from week to week, depending on what your schedule is or what your hunger level is. So you just have to be patient. You have to, give it some time, and it'll all come together.
Okay. Thank you for helping out on the pages, Jesse. With the different, which camera are we? We're on this one. Chef AJ has her favorite tools and things. So that's on amazon.com/shop/Chef AJ. Tami's favorite tools and things are on amazon.com/shop/Nutmeg Notebook. So thank you for posting that.
Yeah, and so check them out, you guys.
There's Chef AJ. How much more time do we have with you?
I've got Dr. Rosanna Alviera making smoked tofu Benedict in 5 minutes. So maybe one more question, and hope you guys will jump over on my page and watch the replay when you're done here.
Okay, Sandra B is saying, I was just diagnosed with diabetes after following a whole food plant-based for 8 months. Told to greatly reduce carbs and sweets. I don't know what to really eat now. I love oatmeal, potatoes, dates, fruits, etc.
You need to go to Robbie and Cyrus. All diabetics, we refer to Robbie and Cyrus at Mastering Diabetes. If you don't want to join their group coaching program, at least read their New York Times bestselling book. They're both living with type 1 diabetes. They do free webinars almost every week. They are your go-to people for diabetes if you want to reverse it with a plant-based diet.
Okay, good. So they're really experts on that subject. Robbie, what's it?
Mastering Diabetes.
Mastering Diabetes.
So do they have a YouTube channel, AJ?
They don't have a YouTube channel, but they have a podcast and they have a mailing list. And like I say, once you're on it, they do free webinars, I think almost every week, where they can answer your question. I've interviewed them both several times. They're actually both experts on the summit next week. So be sure to use Tami's link to sign up for the Truth About Weight Loss Summit, because Robbie and Cyrus they're both doctors. I call them Robbie and Cyrus because they're my friends, but they both do a joint explanation together about how you manage your diabetes eating this way. You go low and slow. You might not be able to eat all the fruit you want right away. You might have to do more beans and greens and things like that at first. And actually, they both do cooking demos for people living with type 1 or type 2 diabetes. So those are really a great resource for anybody with diabetes. And we send everybody to them because we're not doctors. Yes. And we know that it can be reversed using their protocols because they both are living with diabetes.
The link that Chef AJ just mentioned, The Truth About Weight Loss, is down in the show notes. And Chef AJ does a wonderful job hosting that. And Tami's going to be participating on the last day of that program with Chef AJ.
I will. And we love that summit. It's amazing.
Oh.
Okay, AJ, do you need to go?
Yeah, I got to go. Thank you guys so much. Thanks all the viewers. Thanks, Tom and Tami, for all you do. And I'm going to get healthy and stay healthy, a meal at a time.
All right.
All right, AJ.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. It was so fun working with you guys yesterday. Be well, everybody. Take care.
It was great. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, we are full screen.
Okay, cool.
All right, well, that was awesome to have her
on with us. It was so fun to have her. She's such a wealth of knowledge, you guys. She's been doing this for so long, and she knows so many people in the plant-based community. So we can't thank her enough for all that she does. And, she gives away so much for free. If you look at her YouTube channel, I mean, she has hundreds and hundreds of recipe videos. And of course, all of her interviews since the pandemic started are amazing.
Okay. So do you have another printed question you can cover? And I can kind of do some scanning here. We'll go ahead and take a few more questions if you have them while we're still on the air here.
Okay, well, John wrote to Chef AJ and us and said that he feels like we need a show on doing whole food plant-based SOS free with no expensive equipment. You know, we're all well off and can afford all this, but not everyone can. He says, as I listened to Tami and you, AJ, it struck that there are many people who need this way of living and eating, but just can't go buy a $400 Breville or other things that we all use. And maybe there is a niche for someone to approach this without so much investment and second refrigerators. And he goes on to say, thanks again for the impact both of you make on a better world, John Warren. So thank you, John. That is very important. And that's why, like yesterday, that's why we were trying to show here you can do it with the basic tools. And that's why I was talking about how you don't have to have all this extra equipment in order to enjoy a delicious whole food plant-based lifestyle. You can do it with just the basics. And I know people who are doing it with just the basics. And certainly, when we go to visit relatives who don't eat like us and don't have all of the equipment that we have, we are still able to pull off making wonderful, delicious foods. So, we never want anyone to feel bad that they can't afford these things. But when I'm sharing what I do, I'm sharing what I do. And it just so happens that I do have the high-speed blender and I do have the Breville Smart Oven Air. But, like we talked about this morning, you can do a lot with just an oven and a broiler even. But so anyway, there are some sites that do cater to being able to do this on a budget. So there's plant-based on a budget, and she even has some meal plans for one person, meal plan for two people. And I think for free, you can get up to 4 weeks worth of meal plans on how you can do it. And can you do this without an extra refrigerator? Absolutely. You just need to shop. Maybe you'll need to shop twice a week. It just depends on how big of a family you're feeding and how much of the produce that you eat. But can you do it with one refrigerator? Absolutely, you can. You might need to shop twice. You also might need to get home from the grocery store and cook the food right away, because as we know, once we take and chop things up and cook them, they're going to take up less room in the refrigerator. And so, there's certainly ways to strategize to be able to do this without having 2 refrigerators or without having all of the accessories. As far as being able to make really creamy, smooth sauces and that kind of thing, I would be interested if anyone has made my Chipotle nacho cheese sauce or Donna's cheese sauce or the Alfredo sauce just by using a regular blender, because they don't have nuts in them. And so they do blend up easier than something with nuts would. So I would be curious if any of you have just a standard blender, if you've been able to successfully make those in a blender. So what else you got, Tom?
We got a comment from Diane Barnett here a while back, and I missed it while Chef AJ was still here, but maybe you can shed some light here. Chef AJ, I'm the one who just bought this Chef AJ UWL spice blends from local spicery. It says they are for your red lentil chili spice and your black bean soup. So maybe where do you get those recipes?
Yes. So they do have some spice blends that are for specific recipes, for Chef AJ's recipes. So if you have heard, I think that those are in Chef AJ's Ultimate Weight Loss, the Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss cookbook. Do I have that in here? It might be in here, or it might be in my office. So I think that they might be in this book. The red lentil chili recipe is on my blog, because that is a recipe that she had created years ago. And when I first met her online, she did a cookbook giveaway, and she let me put that recipe on my blog. So you can find Chef AJ's red lentil chili on there. And what was the other one? The other recipe?
Black bean. The black bean.
Black bean mushroom. Is it the black bean mushroom soup?
Okay, well, I'm trying to keep track of this other question here, so I don't want to scroll back down.
Okay, if it's the black bean mushroom soup, she actually did that as a demonstration yesterday on the batch cooking boot camp. And so if you were a part of that, then she gave that recipe out. It was one of the PDFs that you would have been emailed. If not, Google black bean mushroom chili, Chef AJ, and I'm pretty sure she has demonstrated that recipe on a YouTube video. So look for that. And you know, here's the thing, you guys, Google is your friend when it comes to trying to find some of the recipes that either Chef AJ or I have done videos on. So if you just, you know, Google the name of the recipe and then put Chef AJ or Nutmeg Notebook at the end, Google has such an incredible search engine. If we have a blog post or a video someplace, it'll find it. Okay, what's your other question?
Catherine's asking, do they sell Ceylon cinnamon at local spicery?
They have several different cinnamons that you can get from local spicery.
Yeah, there's three different ones.
Yeah, I think there's three different cinnamons that they have. So
Okay.
I'm sure they do.
All right, Cherry is asking, what do you put in your Beet Boost? I have the one with dark cherry also, and it tastes terrible with just water.
Oh, well, I like this one. This is the one that I have. This is the original. Which camera am I on?
We're on this one.
Okay, this is the original flavor. And, you know, personal preferences on taste vary from person to person. I happen to really enjoy the flavor of this one. So
And that's predominantly beet flavor and not so much
this
cherry.
has cherry in it too, though.
Well, it has the tart cherries for the antioxidant properties, but it's not a dominant cherry flavor.
No, there is one that is more cherry flavor for people who didn't like the flavor of the beet. So I use 1 tablespoon in 24 ounces of water. That's what tastes best to me. And then I load it with ice so that it's really cold, because I just think it tastes better when it's really cold. But I like the flavor of it. I know that AJ used to drink it with hibiscus tea. Which camera am I on, Tom? That one?
Yeah, I'm going to put you back
Okay.
on
Okay.
yours. On
So
yours,
I
though.
used to, Chef AJ used to drink it with hibiscus tea. So she would take a hibiscus tea bag and put it in her water, in her big water container. I guess I don't have mine here. And then she would stick it in the fridge. And I know this because, you know, she spends the night with us sometimes. And so she'll stick it in the fridge overnight. And then the next day she would add a tablespoon of Beet Boost to it and just like shake it up. And then she would sip on that throughout the morning. So that can work for you too.
I'm not sure if we covered this earlier or not. I don't remember Chef AJ answering it. Sherry Yee said, love the boot camp. Please give recipes for Chef AJ's favorites. 1, the smoky sweet potato burger, and 2, the barbecue sauce.
Okay, and she I think she already addressed that. Maybe you asked
Are those
it
the
already.
ones in the
And
Chibo class?
those are from the Chibo class.
Okay.
And so here's the thing, she has developed some recipes that are just for her Chibo classes. And because people are paying to take that class and to cook along with her, they get the recipes. And so she cannot give those recipes.
They may be published later at some later
They
date
could
in
be,
something. Yeah.
But right now she cannot, because those are recipes that she has developed for those paid classes where people are going to be able to cook along with her.
A couple of questions here. Can you use, this is from Margot, can you use another white potato instead of Yukon in the cheese sauce? Alternative white potato.
Sure.
You could use a
Sure,
russet in there.
you could use whatever kind of white potato that you have. So if it's a potato that has, you know, a dark red color, I might peel them, but it might be okay. It might not make the color funky. So it's just sometimes the pigment that is on the skin can make things a funny color.
Yeah, because we throw the whole potato in. We don't. I make the cheese sauce, and I am not going to peel potatoes. So the whole thing, I scrub them, and then they go in. Okay, from Libby, Do you chop all your salads at the same time, or do you chop each just before you are ready to eat?
Yes, we chop it just before we're ready to eat. I know that Charles and AJ, they chop their greens up, you know, and then
I
add
don't think
everything
your
to it.
chopping is fine, though.
And I don't think they're chopping, I don't think what they make lasts for a whole week. So yeah, I make up the salads and then we just chop them the day that we're going to eat them. Now, you know, sometimes I have to be to our daughter's house really early in the morning. And so occasionally I will go ahead and chop it the night before, but I will keep all of the add-in ingredients that I like to add to it separate. And I never add salad dressing or vinegar in advance because the acid from those will start to break down the vegetables. But some people who have to go to work early tell me that they chop their salad the night before.
Okay, here's a question from I-58 Farms. Hello. Do you ever pressure can for batch prep? My local store charges too much for fresh jackfruit, then throws them all away. I would like to try to can it. Oh, we've gotten our jackfruit processed. It comes in a bag.
Yeah, you know, I've never bought the big fresh jackfruit. I know that our friend Shada, who has Healthy Cooking with Shada YouTube channel, and she also has a website, she has done a video on buying the fresh jackfruit and how to cut it and take it apart.
Yeah. So go to
and
YouTube,
then
search
you can
bar.
Freeze it, but she did not can it. I don't know anyone who's canned it.
Yeah, she went on how to get it out because
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a chore.
Because you have to get the young sweet one or the young one, I think, before it gets really ripe and sweet in order to be able to use it for savory things. She uses it for sweet things. So I would Google that and see if you can find a video or anything or a blog post that anybody has done about that. I don't do any canning. Tom and I did when we first got married years and years and years ago. The house that we bought, the people before us were huge gardeners. And so I think we bought the house in the summertime. And so we reaped the benefits of their gardening and we canned a lot that year, but we have never done it since.
Okay, I found one I didn't get to earlier, I don't think.
Okay, great.
How do you roast garlic in the Breville? Do you peel it first, then roast it? And what temperature and for how long?
Yeah, I'm not sure how AJ does hers. I did try air frying at one time and that was a complete disaster. In fact, that was on a holiday and it blew up in the oven. Do you remember that, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
And the garlic, just like it blew up and it completely covered the inside of the Breville and we had the biggest mess. And so what I do is I take a whole head of garlic and I put parchment paper around it and then I put it in, and I cut the top of it like maybe down like 1/3, but I put the cap back on. And then I put parchment paper around it. And then I put foil over the top of that and seal it shut. And then I roast it at like 375. And for how long just depends on how big it is. So, check it after 40 minutes and see if it's gotten kind of caramelized and soft and not, then put it back in and, do it for another 15 to 20 minutes. So it depends on how big the heads of garlic are. And then when you take it out, you can just squeeze out all the delicious cooked garlic and then you can freeze it. So, and if you have the little super cube trays, you could go ahead and, freeze it, or you can like this, or you could put it in ice cube trays and freeze it. But it's great for sauces and garlic mashed potatoes. It's so good.
Okay.
More questions.
A couple more questions. Chipotle nacho cheese sauce is on the blog. If you just search Nutmeg Notebook Chipotle cheese, it will come up.
Yep.
Yep. So
it will. And we have a YouTube video and that video is embedded in the blog post. And if you get it off the blog post, there's a printable recipe there.
Yeah. You can go straight to the blog and put Chipotle in the little tiny search box on the
and
blog.
it'll come up.
It's just easier to
Yeah,
find it.
and I've used it in a few different recipes, I think.
So multiple things will come up.
Multiple things will come up, but there is one that is specific to just making the Chipotle nacho cheese sauce.
Okay, Mary's saying here, Tami, that she just roasted garlic cloves peeled in the Breville using 370 degrees for 10 minutes, and they came out perfect.
Nice.
But she peeled them so they didn't explode.
Yeah.
Yours was a whole clove, wasn't it?
It was.
And it was like
And it
4th of
exploded.
July.
It was terrible.
Okay, so there is another question right up here I saw go by. SB's making a comment on Home Shopping Network or on QVC that you can buy high-speed blenders, air fryer ovens on payment plans. It's how she got her blender. I don't know if Amazon has that too, the payment plans, but yeah, a food processor or some of those air fryers, it can be money. And so if you can spend it over 90 days, then you might be in business.
Yeah, and also like Vitamix sells refurbished Vitamix blenders. And, I've talked to a lot of people who have found really nice deals at the thrift stores. So, somebody will decide, oh, I'm going to go plant-based or what have you, and they buy a juicer and a food processor and all that. And then they decide this isn't for me. And they just give the stuff away to the thrift store. They donate it to a thrift store. So, don't discount going there and looking. And Craigslist or the Facebook Marketplace that's for your local area. I mean, check all those too, because a lot of times.
Yeah, quite a few people have gotten the Champion Juicer well, you can get them online used. All shipping isn't usually there because they're so darn heavy, but there's some people have picked them up in local thrift stores.
In thrift stores or at garage sales.
Yeah.
Even. So, you would be amazed. I mean, we hear from people all the time that have found like really incredible deals places.
Question from, I don't know how to pronounce it. Aletta sir, can frozen vegetables be cooked in the air fryer?
Yeah, people do. I have never done that because we usually have fresh, but people do tell me that they take, a bag of broccoli, frozen broccoli, and put it in the air fryer. So absolutely, you can do that. Oh, where'd you put the wood bowl? I was going to tell people that we're not real familiar with it, that
okay.
For the Holland wood bowl that we showed yesterday for chopping our salads, when you use our affiliate link, we are affiliates with them. We use their products for like a year before we became affiliates. But if you want to be able to chop salads in a wood bowl like we do, if you use our affiliate link and your order is a minimum $125 for a bowl, then they will give you they'll include a free mezzaluna knife. So when you go to the Holland Bowl Mill store, you don't want to buy the chopping bowl because the chopping bowl comes with the mezzaluna and you're paying for the mezzaluna. And so as long as the bowls start for the 15-inch, the Beechwood bowl is $125. So if you order one of the 15-inch or larger bowls, that's a minimum $125 with our link, then you will get this free. You also can get free engraving for the bottom. So this one says Nutmeg Notebook 2018. And also you'll get free shipping as well. And you just need to know that when you chop in this, it is going to get cut marks on it. I don't know, can you see it has cut marks? Because it's just the same as if you were using a wood cutting board with a knife on it, and that wood cutting board is going to get cut marks. Also, you can see that this has a bit of a green patina in it. This is a cherry wood bowl, and so it has more pigment and more color than like the beechwood. So the green patina doesn't show up as much in this. Also, when I ordered this, I requested that they send me one that was more uniform in color because I didn't want like a white center going through here because I knew that it would turn green and I just didn't want that look.
At last, he's asking which wood do you prefer for your bowl?
Okay, so Tom prefers, you want to grab the beechwood?
Yeah.
Tom prefers the beechwood and I prefer the cherry just because I love the color of this one. And the beechwood, though, was the
Mine
first
has
one.
more green.
And see, his does show more green. See, let's show them both
Yeah.
because it's a lighter colored wood, and so it does show the green
Yeah.
more.
The cherry wood is a harder wood, and the bowl itself is a little bit thinner because it doesn't have to be as thick as this one. I like the weight in
you
the
like the
body
weight.
and the way it absorbs the impact of the chopping knife. So I actually do prefer the beechwood. This one does look nicer, I suppose it does.
It does.
It also costs more money. So
Yeah. So you'll get the free mezzaluna as long as you're ordering a bowl that's $125, which that's what this one costs. And then the cherry's more. You won't get the holder. I highly recommend that you buy the holder though separately for your mezzaluna because it gives you a safe place to store it. So we use our bowls every day. So I mean, this one has been used every day. I chop my salad in it every day. Tom chops a salad in his beechwood bowl every day. I also use it to chop up, if I'm chopping up a large amount of herbs, it works great for that as well. And we like the 15-inch, but choose the wood that you like the look of most. We've interviewed Corey from Holland Bowl Mill, and we've got there's a video that you can watch from the fall, and we answer all your questions in there. But just know that the green patina and the cut marks are a badge of honor. That means you're eating your salad.
okay.
Any more questions?
So Sherry Yee's asking, do you have something we can join, in Nutmeg Notebook and earn a prize or earn something free? The registering at the site, if you go on our email list, there are some exclusive recipes that Tami sends out that come to you as a PDF after you register, or a link is sent out and then you download them on the PDF. So that's just a thank you for signing up to get our newsletters and such. So
and all of our YouTube videos, all of our recipes, we give out freely all of our advice. I mean, we have hundreds of videos that we've made all about cooking and nutrition and calorie density and how to deal with cravings and how to eat plant-based when the rest of your family doesn't. And we've devoted hundreds of hours to creating recipes and blog posts and videos that we give away for free. So yesterday was the very first online cooking class that we did that was fee-based. We do have a class that we had done in person that we videotaped that we have for sale on the blog. But we've been doing this for years and doing everything for free. So we feel like we have a lot of free content for you.
okay.
So, I'm going to be starting teaching cooking classes also on Chibo. And so I'm super excited about that. Hopefully today I'll have time to go online. What Chibo is, if you haven't experienced it yet, it is a subsidiary of the General Electric Company. And it's something that they started when the pandemic started because they thought, wow, people need a way to learn how to cook because people are having to cook now. And so they decided to be a host for online cooking classes. And so we, had a nice meeting with them and they want us to start teaching classes through them. So we're super excited about that because they didn't know how popular whole food plant-based lifestyles were, and they need more teachers for that. And so those will be a fee-based cooking class that we will be doing, and you get to cook along. So I supply the recipes, and then they send out the recipes to you in advance so you know what ingredients to purchase. And you'll have to do some of the prep in advance because they like to keep the classes to an hour or 90 minutes at the most. And then you will actually be able to cook along with me in real time. And although I won't be able to see you, you'll see me, but you can ask questions. So you can get in the queue and you can ask me questions. I won't be able to see you, but I'll be able to hear you. And you can ask me questions if you aren't understanding everything that I'm doing. So our first class will be later in February, and I'll be making an enchilada casserole and a salad with a really delicious ruby red onion and lime dressing, and the chocolate chia pudding that I showed you all that I had made yesterday.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us. Oh, Judy and Gerald would say hello.
Hey, hi Judy.
So Dee Morgan had a great idea. Just use a circular saw to cut a slit in a block of hardwood for the thickness of the blade and just stick it in there. See, if I was left to my own devices, then yeah, I would do that.
That's what you would do too.
Yeah,
you could do that.
But it would include having a circular saw and then and cutting that wood the edgewise.
Well, okay.
You need to use a proper wood. You had to use proper tools. I think.
So somebody emailed me and told me, you know, the swimming noodles, the kind of styrofoam swimming noodles.
Just cut a short piece.
She took a piece of that and cut it and uses that.
There's a kitchen hack.
So there's a kitchen hack for you. You can do all kinds of fun things.
So tomorrow we will be on our regularly scheduled live show at 4 o'clock. We'll be interviewing a wonderful story from Bob and Fram. I have not set up the thumbnail, the YouTube landing page for that yet, but I'll be doing that this afternoon, and hopefully getting a brief newsletter out probably mid-morning tomorrow to make sure everybody's aware of that regularly scheduled success story interview from a wonderful couple.
And we know the Super Bowl's on, so we apologize in advance.
Yeah, it's at 4 o'clock Pacific, so I think the Super Bowl will be in progress.
Yeah.
But you can watch the replay of either one.
There you go.
You can record the Super Bowl and watch Nutmeg Notebook, or vice versa.
That's right. And Bob and Fran are super excited. They're so enthusiastic to share their story, and they're just, bursting with excitement about being on our show.
So that will be
excited.
Fun. Kylie Kai super chatted you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank you so much for the super chat.
Kylie.
And there's still time for a thumbs up to motivate YouTube to share our video. Sherry Yee, if you have a question to send to Tami for a future show, you can send it to Tami at nutmegnotebook.com.
Yeah, and we appreciate getting those.
These in advance help us keep on track to really addressing your questions.
And I'm also curious, I know we got a lot of emails from people who wanted to join the batch cooking boot camp yesterday, but they work Monday through Friday, so it was during their work day, but of course you get the replay to that. So I'm just curious as to, I have to decide what day, I get to set what day and time I want to do my Chivo cooking classes at, and I'm just curious, is the weekend better for you guys, or does it matter? Because also on that, you can also purchase the replay, so you don't actually have to watch it in real time. So, I don't want to interfere with Dylan's cooking classes that he does on Saturdays in the morning. That would be my preference, but I think it's every other Saturday that Dylan has his cooking class. So I could try to schedule mine so that it's on the day that he doesn't have a cooking class, or, I could do it in the afternoon, I guess, instead of the morning, so that wouldn't be a problem. But if you want to put in the comments, what time would be best for you, or if you want to email me and let me know your suggestions, I will certainly try to take that all into consideration. Can't really do them on Sundays because we do our live show on Sundays. And so our Sundays are already busy because we do the live Facebook in the morning. So for those of you who are new, who came to our channel today from yesterday's boot camp, on Sunday mornings, Tom and I go for a 4-mile walk, and we do a live Facebook from our Nutmeg Notebook Facebook page, and we chat and take questions and show you, the places that we walk to. And so we do that on Sunday morning, and then Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Pacific. Oh, so Sunday morning, right now we've been going around 7:30, just because it's not warm and it's not light out earlier. In the summer, we will go earlier because it'll be hot and sunny. But then at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we go live every Sunday, and we either have a presentation for you, or we interview someone, or we do a Q&A. And so that's really fun. So
a couple of final questions here, and then we have to close off. For those of you that signed up for the boot camp yesterday, the replay, I believe Justin said, is accessed by following the same link that you were originally sent out. If you have any question about that, go to one of your emails and reply back to Justin. He's administrating that whole program. And hello to Louisa from France.
wow, that's so exciting.
Larissa, last name's a giveaway, La Rue. Okay.
That's cool.
And
so
can you freeze cheese sauce? People
Yes.
do. We don't, because we eat it up before it needs to be frozen. There's a little bit of water separation. It stirs back in just fine. We revitalize ours each time with a little, tablespoon, teaspoon of nut milk, just to loosen it up coming out of the refrigerator before we, as we reheat it. So
if you want some ideas for Super Bowl, because this week has been so busy, I never had time to do a blog post. But of course, the Chipotle nacho cheese sauce, and make your own chips. And you can add salsa to it, to the table with that as well. And that is delicious. Look at the Ponachos, Ponachos. The Ponachos would be fantastic for your Super Bowl
snack, yeah.
Yeah, that would be so great. Chef AJ's red lentil chili, and that recipe's on the blog. Or the hearty lentil stew, that would be great. The lentil shepherd's pie would be wonderful to make for that. And we have stuffed mushrooms. So look at the air fryer recipes. Tom's over here going like this, wrap it up.
You don't have to tell him that. I'm doing it under the counter on purpose.
I outed you.
We're out of time. We got to go.
Okay. So we've got family coming over. I've got to figure out what I'm cooking. So anyway, we have lots of recipes that you could use. Hummus recipes, salsa recipes. So check out the blog. It'd be good burger and fry day too. So the black bean burgers with air fried French fries,
There was
or
a blog
make them
post
under the
a year.
broiler.
Didn't you do a Super Bowl blog post a year ago?
I
with
don't
a bunch
know.
of ideas?
Maybe I did.
Or even the one 2 years ago. There are, look in this same time frame.
There could be.
Look in the January time frame the last 2 years. You'll find
And
something
then
about snacks.
make my brownies, the chocolate cherry brownies. Those would be perfect. Great dessert for tomorrow. So please give us a thumbs up. If you like this video, share it. You can share it on Facebook, and we really appreciate it if you do. If you share any of our recipes or our videos in the plant-based Facebook groups that you belong to, that helps us reach more people. And most of those groups don't let us post because that's considered self-promotion, and they all frown upon that. But if you do it, you can get by with that. And so if you like something that we've done and you share it in those groups, we really appreciate that, because it helps us reach more people.
Jesse's asking, are you insinuating that you actually have a life outside of Nutmeg Notebook activities?
No, actually we don't. We barely do right now. We just barely do. Usually our family comes over on Fridays and I fix dinner, and that didn't happen yesterday. And I did get my hair cut last night, you guys. I'm so excited.
And it was a legal haircut. Okay.
It was a legal haircut. So anyway, this has been really fun. We hope we see you tomorrow, either for our walk in the morning on Facebook, Nutmeg Notebook Facebook. Also, I have to say one more thing. Follow us on Instagram. The Instagram and Facebook for Nutmeg Notebook is where I post what I eat. So I posted this morning a picture of the food that I ate yesterday that I created out of the batch prep. So if you want to know how I pull ingredients together and make meals, follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm Tami.
And I'm Tom.
And I talk too much, but we help you
get healthy and stay healthy. One meal at a time.
What'd you say?
At a time. At a time. The thing jumped in. It was Jesse talking about haircuts are legal non-California. So I squirreled. Yes. One meal at a time. Goodbye.
We love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
I got to figure out what button to push.
He's got it. Oh, I want to push the button.
I got to come over here and do it.
Oh, you have to push the button over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye, you guys. This was fun. What button are you going to push?